Hello, this is Helen from helensheartcreations.com. Thank you for joining me today. Got a little quick video to show you this wonderful gift box made from Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper and coordinating cardstock. And this box is designed to hold 6 teaspoons. Okay, so you're saying 6 teaspoons in a gift box? Well, the thing is that I decided to give my sister 6 teaspoons because she keeps running out of them. So I thought, well, how do I turn just a very pragmatic, ordinary gift into something that shows that our time here with her has been really appreciated, and just those little things. And so I constructed this box. From this one I used the Magnolia Lane Designer Series paper with black coordinating cardstock for the bottom, and this is a reinforced box, so I'll show you how you can do that, and just makes a little sturdier box, which I felt was needed for the spoons. So let's get started. So first of all, what you want to do is actually choose your Designer Series paper. Again, I've chosen this one from the Magnolia Lane series, and all our paper is coordinated with our cardstock range. And so obviously basic black is one of the colors. This is Mossy Meadow for the green, and then just the accent color. You may not be able to see it very clearly on the video there, but the accent color is Petal Pink. So I've actually chosen Petal Pink for my base as the coordinating cardstock. Actually, I did use black in the original box, but it doesn't show up very well on the video. So now the box itself measures 6 1/4 by 2 by 1. Now, your gift may be a little different size, and if you have problems resizing for that, please do get in touch, and I can help you do that. All the details are down below. You don't have to worry about measurements. They'll be over on my blog, links below. And also, please, if you haven't already done so, do hit subscribe down below here, and hit the notification bell so that you get to know when I've put a new video up. So the measurements for the base are 10. The length is, you need 10 inches by 5 3/4. So if you've got 12 by 12 paper, then you would be able to get 2 out of one sheet of 12 by 12. So if you're thinking about making these for craft chairs and things like that, then that's a great way to do it. So, and then it's really, really easy. You are simply going to take your scoreboard and score at 7/8 and 1 7/8, because that's going to be the reinforced piece, and then all the way around. So 7/8, 1 7/8, 7/8, and 1 7/8. Probably jiggling the camera doing this, so my apologies if it's moving here. And 1 7/8. Then if you haven't constructed a box before, it really is quite straightforward, though the first time it may look a little daunting. And I've lost my bone folder. Oh well. It's vanished. My bone folder has vanished. Oh, I will just have to do it by pressing my hand. It's best if you have a bone folder to really reinforce these creases. You know, it helps to shape the table as well, and things like that. All that kind of fun stuff that happens when you're crafting. And so you go all the way around and do that. I like to fold and burnish first before I cut. Some people have a different way of doing it. Then what you want to do is take a sharp pair of scissors and cut up on the long side, on camera, yeah, cut up on the long side to the second, on the second score line to the second score line. And you do that on both sides. Now, when I say a sharp pair of scissors, they need to be not only sharp on this edge here, the main part of the cutting edge, but they need to be sharp right the way to the very tip, and you need to be able to cut cleanly with that tip. And you could see how that happened because you've got to get right in very neatly to the exact center of where those fold lines cross. So then what you're going to do on each corner, you're going to remove these 3 outer pieces, right? So if you look at your piece of card, you've got on every corner, you've got these 3 pieces. And what you're going to do is take those off because you don't need them. If you needed them, you'd leave them on. So you just cut that, cut that off. So that leaves you a tab, which is what's going to go on the inside. And whenever you have, and this is the flap that's going to fold under to make the reinforcement. So anything like a flap or a tab that's going to be folded in, just wedge it slightly because that's going to give you a much neater cut. And then wedge it here. The beauty about this is, so when you come to construct it, what you're going to do is you're going to bring that edge against the fold there. The tab is on the inside, and then this is going to come down. So it not only reinforces it by doubling the outside, it also reinforces it by trapping that tab in underneath it. So it makes it even stronger. Now, I'm sure you don't want to watch me doing all of that. So I've kind of started one. Oh, actually, I haven't really done that much more on it, but actually I do know that the one I just cut is not quite the right size. So I'm going to show you the one that is, because I am going to show you when we come to doing the designer paper, I'm going to show you how you make the lid fit perfectly and snugly. And it wouldn't have done that because I actually cut that other piece of cardstock a little bit short. I don't know if you could see the measurements, but if you did and you were very perceptive, you might have noticed that it wasn't quite at 5 3/4. But I wasn't going to tell you, but I did, so there we are. So just wedging all of this, it really does make it much easier to construct the box. Goes together more neatly. And just talk amongst yourselves while we do it. And you can see when you're doing this how important it is to have these scissors. I mean, just look at this. These are Stampin' Up! Snips, right? They're really good value for money. And I've had these forever and I've never sharpened them, and they're just still cut that little piece cleanly to the end, which is really important when you're doing constructing papercraft. All right. So then, now I'm going to tape it with Terran tape because it's good and strong, and you need something strong for your box. And so what I do is you will need, on the flaps, let me just see if I'm in camera here, on the flaps, you want to, on the tabs I should say, you want to put your Terran tape right at the very edge there. And I do put another one on. I suppose you don't really need to, in fact I won't, because just for time wise, because you're actually going to, and sometimes I'm not very good with the little ones at tearing them. I tend to tear the stuff, so sometimes I just so because these tabs are going to actually be caught down underneath the flap that you're folding in, you actually don't have to put that second piece of tab, but normally I would put a second piece of tape on there. So these are on the outside, because, ooh, cut it without cutting the paper. Yeah, so those are on the outside. So what's going to happen is that's going to go in like that, and that flap is going to come over it. So I haven't quite wedged that properly. That needs to be wedged right to the corner, although it's going to be a bit tricky when I come to... what's wrong with me? Right, sunny room, and I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so these are going to fold inwards, so the tape needs to be, and it doesn't really matter where it is, just kind of in the middle somewhere, or closer to the bottom, I suppose, is better, because it's actually less likely to get pulled up as the gift gets taken out and things like that. Depends what you're putting in it. So here it is. We're going to tape this down. Nice bit of tear and tape. Oops. I'm not always... tear and tape is fantastic stuff. I haven't always quite got the tear bit of it. So sometimes... Oh no, I did it the wrong way around. Sometimes what I do is... so I often do cut it, but that's just me. And I have to say, you know, as I'm getting older, I'm finding that my hands are not as nimble. I'm not as dexterous as I was when I was younger. But doing this kind of craft really helps me keep my fingers moving, and what do I want to say? It's like you don't have to give in to the aging process, right? But just be aware of one's body, and then do things that just help one stay agile. It's just like walking. I walk every day because you know, I'm able to, and so while I am able to, I want to continue doing it. So my handy dandy take your pick tool has a little pick, which is great for, I usually just sort of push these tear and tape down. You want to avoid touching the tear and tape, because obviously that takes some of the stickiness of it. So just make sure it's well down. So it's well down so that when you take it off, it comes off here. Okay, and then this one too. It's always when you're on camera, right? You have all these problems. It goes out really easily when you're not. So you just line this up as neatly as you can. That blunt edge, that cut edge, there are actual names for this and I've totally forgotten them, but to the fold. So as squarely, as neatly and squarely and precisely as you can. The more accurate you can be, the better your box will look in the end. Okay, and then now with the other sides, with the sides here, oops, that's coming off. With the side here, I'm just going to, again, you can hold it down with your pick and then you're not touching it, and you can pull the whole thing off. Just push it in. What I do is go from the center, push it out. You can see if it's in camera. And then you see how these flaps now, can you see that? These flaps are trapped underneath, those tabs rather, are trapped underneath these flaps here. And again, just fold that in. And then that one. So if you haven't made a box before, what I suggest you do is just get some scrap paper, measure it up and do it. What I did was, that's exactly what I did. I found some old scrap card, watched a couple of tutorials, and then just did it. And over time, I've now sort of used several different ways of constructing a box, and it's just sort of eventually becomes second nature. Now then, the question is, how do you get your box so the lid fits perfectly? So it fits snugly, but it's not too loose, but you're not struggling to get it on, right? How do you do that? Very, very easily. Now that piece of cardstock that we cut was, if you remember, it was 10 by 5 3/4. So In order to get a box, a lid that's fitting absolutely snugly, what you do is you add 1/16 of an inch to each side. Okay, so you go to this one I've partially cut. So it's very easy because it was 10, right? So you just go 10, put it to the 10. Can you see that? Put it to the 10 there, and then just move it 1 notch, which is 1/16 of an inch, and then cut it. And then the same thing on the other side. You're going to go to 5 3/4, right? And then 1/16 further over. If I try and add 5 3/4 plus 1/16, I'm bound to get it wrong. It is actually 13/16, but you know, I can never quite trust that. So I always just, again, put it at 5 3/4 and add a 16th. Just move it over 1 notch, which is the 1/16 mark on the trimmer. And most trimmers have 1/16 of an inch on them. If they don't, then they have 1/8, so just guess halfway in between. And then, because now you've taken care of having that extra 1/16 of an inch, constructing the lid is exactly the same as constructing the base. You are going to, this has already been done, you're going to go at 7/8, 1 7/8, turn it, 7/8, 1 7/8, turn it, 7/8, this side wasn't done actually, and 1 7/8. You're going to cut and fold it. Just take this down. I mean, you're going to fold and burnish it exactly the same as you did for the base. You're going to cut up exactly the same as you did for the base. You're going to remove these pieces exactly the same as you did for the base. Am I getting boring yet? Repetitive. And you are going to put tear and tape on exactly the same as you did for the base. So on the outside for the 4 tabs, and on the inside for the 4 flaps. Same thing. Take your pick tool to remove the backing from the tear and tape. This one I did actually put 2 on each tab. It would be important to do that if you weren't having the reinforced fold go in. It would be important to do that, but it's not so necessary to do that when you're actually going to put that fold in. So again, don't touch the tear and tape because that reduces its stickability. You know, if you don't have any removable tape with you, that's the trick. Take any kind of tape and just dab it on your clothes several times, and it just removes enough of the sticky that it becomes removable, so you can use it for masking and things like that. So there's an added tip for you. All right, so constructing it exactly the same way as you did the box, if I could actually see properly, then we'd be all right, wouldn't we? Black is harder to see, which is why I didn't do black to construct the base as I did on the original box that I made. So anyway, so there it is. Just press those down. Again, pull up. If you hold the thing down with your pick, you're all right. And you go to the other side. Take it all, lift it up. Come on, come on. That's it. And then fold it down, pull it off. Fold that down. Oops. Fold it down. Keep. It's the way I move the pick, it just undoes the other end of it. Silly me. All right, so there it is. And this is the moment of truth. The moment of truth. Does it actually go on and fit perfectly as it's supposed to? It never does on camera, of course. Yes, it does. Look at that. Absolutely perfect and snug. And in another video, I'll show you how you can make it easier to remove the lid. With this one, it's fairly straightforward, but you can actually make that even easier. So then for decoration, you know, they're just as your heart desires. What I've done here, I've got a thinking of you little sentiment on here, and I've taken the stamp from Magnolia Lane, Good Morning Magnolia, which matches, of course, this designer series paper. And I will just, I'm a great fan of glue dots. One of the demonstrators says she reckons she can stick her children to the ceiling with glue dots. So those of you who need to stick children to the ceiling, you have been told glue dots will work. Right. Don't actually try that. Okay, this is one of those, don't try this at home. From that. Okay, so then, you know, if you want to put, sometimes I put a little bit of the ribbon around for embellishment. So to do that, I also use glue dots. I put just put a couple of glue dots on here. So on the back, what I'm doing is putting glue dots on the back of here, and then I just take this and put it on. Just loop it. I'm not very good at this, but I've just found that this is a really easy way of kind of not fussing about it, but just sort of getting a nice little bit of extra embellishment. They're just, you know, every little bit. You know, you can put rhinestones on it, you can put all sorts of things just to make it look fun. And the thing is that this absolutely everyday, one could say mundane gift, right? A very practical, that's a better word, is a practical gift of teaspoons becomes this absolutely lovely gift that says, I've thought about this and I care, and okay, it's only teaspoons, but you need teaspoons, and you know, this is a great way to get a gift of teaspoons. Don't use your paper scissors to cut material. Do as I say, not as I do. And then I'm going to bump this up onto dimensionals. On dimensionals, I should say, so that it's raised up. On there, two will do. It'll be absolutely fine and lovely. So then you just place it as you feel. And there is this beautiful box that's sized for 6 teaspoons. Please do get in touch if you have trouble resizing. I'm actually quite good at that, designing the box in the first place, what size it needs to be. And then, yeah, and remember that this is woven threads. All our designer series paper has coordinating cardstock. So that's one of the great things about Stampin' Up. You don't have to worry if you buy some pattern paper. Do you have the right inks? Do you have the right cardstock at home that will really give the edge to your projects that you make? Please do subscribe down below. I'll be back again soon with another project. And until then, happy crafting and thank you for watching. Bye for now.